Welcome back as we head into the wild, and what a crazy place it can be, especially when the wild encroaches on our living space. Now, African rock python, measuring nearly 3.5 meters, just imagine the girth, was captured by a herdsman in Osindisweni near Verulam on the KZN north coast on Saturday. We reported on that news story. Professional snake rescuer Nick Evans from KZN Amphibian and Reptile Conservation requested assistance to move this massive reptile. Evans and a reaction officer also discovered several hatched eggs in a hole. He now joins us on the line to tell us more about this big, and I stress the word big, find, and what we should do if we come across a python of this size. A very good morning, Nick. How are you, man?
Morning. Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me on your show.
Always great to connect with you because generally it's around some kind of exciting find and rescue operation. I'm going to start by qualifying your title. I think most people in your line of work are referred to as snake catchers, but you have chosen the title snake rescuer. Why is that?
I don't know. I prefer it. I capture snakes. I release them. I don't keep them or sell them or anything. It's all about conservation. So, I don't know, I think rescue is a bit more, suitable.
It's funny to think of any creature needing to be rescued less than a 3.5 meter long African rock python. It is massive. What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Well, at first I was quite concerned because it was in a small bucket and it didn't look happy. Obviously, it was sitting in its own fecal matter. It wasn't good, and it's actually quite skinny because when they lay their eggs, they obviously lose a lot of weight, but then they stay with their eggs. So they don't eat for like 3 months until after they've hatched and after the babies have left. So she's quite underweight. I was quite concerned.
So she really did need the rescuing in that instance. Now, we know African rock pythons are constrictors, which means that they coil around their prey and then asphyxiate them. Can you tell us a little bit more about the snake? What makes them so precious, such a treasured resource here in South Africa?
Well, they are our biggest snake species. This one was 3.5 meters long, but they can get to over 5 meters long.
Wow.
What I find most amazing about them is how they're such good mothers. You know, most snakes will lay their eggs and leave them. Pythons lay their eggs and they protect them, but not only that, but they also protect their young. So, I mean, they incubate their young, so the eggs. So they'll go lie in the sun, get nice and warm, come back down, wrap around the eggs, and incubate them, which I find really amazing. They're also beautiful snakes, I think. I know they scare some people, but they definitely deserve a lot of respect.
They're absolutely beautiful, and like I said, something to be treasured here. I've got to ask about the area. KZN, home to some really interesting and obviously some pretty dangerous snakes, including one of the most dangerous, the black mamba. Why do our snakes like KZN so much? What makes it such a good habitat for them?
Well, firstly, it's warm. It's very warm. It's warm all year round. We've also, I mean, like in the Greater Durban area, for example, we've got a lot of nature reserves, a lot of green belts, valleys. So there's a lot of habitat, but unfortunately, that habitat is surrounded by humans, and those areas are quite small. So conflict between humans and snakes is common.
And that's why you exist, my friend, to come in and rescue, I think, both snakes and humans in many cases. Stay with us, my friend. We're going to continue this conversation. We want to ask a few more questions. We've got more nature coming up. It's my feel-good breakfast show. Welcome back as we continue our conversation on the nearly 3.5 meter long African rock python that was rescued near Verulam in the KZN north coast on Saturday for this week's Into the Wild. And we are joined by snake rescuer, a man who got very up close and personal, Nick Evans, a guy we love because it always brings us amazing adventures and also fills us in on some really important information about these incredible creatures. Is this the kind of the average African rock python length? You mentioned they can go up to 5 meters. Is 5 meters a really big one? I mean, how terrifyingly large can they get?
Yeah, so I mean, I've never seen one over 4 meters. I've seen a couple that have just been at the 4 meter mark. But yeah, I mean, they can get bigger, but 3.5 meters is quite the average size that I catch. They're mostly in chicken coops. They like chickens, KFC. Yeah, the biggest I've seen have all been 4 meters. I've yet to see one over 4 meters. One day, hopefully.
Okay, so you've just partly answered my next question, which is what's on the menu. So what do they eat, and what likely attracted them to that area? Presumably they weren't around chickens when you found them.
Well, in that area, I think there probably were chickens, which that snake would have eaten, but it was a natural area, so there would have been other wild birds, small mammals, things like that. But in some areas, there's been like too unsustainable hunting, and the pythons don't have much wild food, so they feed on domestic animals. But in wild areas, yeah, small antelope, cane rats, things like that, small mammals.
Now, that wasn't your only find, notably, on the day. There were several hatched eggs as well. What's happened to them?
Unfortunately, we couldn't get them. That ground was super hard. We'd need a team of guys to dig. Also, those tunnels can go for meters underground. So as much as I wanted to pick them out and see them, because they're really cute, the little baby pythons, we just couldn't. I was a bit concerned about leaving them there, but the community guys, the residents there, said it was okay. The den was in the bush, really, and it was on the edge of a big valley. So they said it's fine. They're not worried about the babies. They should move off. A lot of the babies, perhaps if not all, will probably get eaten by predators such as birds, monitor lizards, mongoose, things like that.
And maybe in a couple of years, you'll find one or two and be called in for a rescue. I've got to ask, for the public out there, if we are to come across one of these pythons, what should we do?
Well, it's illegal to kill them. A lot of people do kill them, but it's illegal. It's a protected species. It's actually illegal to catch them. Some people try and sell them, which is illegal. So please just leave them alone. Consider yourself really lucky to see one. They're an amazing animal. I don't see that many. So if you see one, yeah, just take a few steps back. It's not like the snake in the Anaconda movie, which doesn't even exist. It's not going to come and wrap around you and kill you and things like that. It is scared of you. Pythons are scared of you, even though they can be big. So yeah, just leave it alone and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said just feel lucky in the process. That's awesome. So if it does encroach in your living space, who should we call for assistance?
Yeah, you can call your nearest snake remover. If Google search, you'll probably find a number. But better to call for professional help rather than deal with it yourself. Because although they're not venomous, they can still inflict a painful bite.
Is there anything you need to do? We know that they obviously, as you say, aren't poisonous, but if one does bite you, what do you do in that instance? Do you have to do something specially? Is there a danger of infection? What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, clean the wound. They do have lots of small rows of small, sharp little teeth. So it is going to hurt if a python bites you. Wash the wound. Probably a good idea to get a tetanus shot. But other than that, yeah, luckily there's no venom.
Buddy, thank you so much. Love you, love the work that you do. Always cool connecting with you. Never a dull moment for a snake rescuer. Go on and do the good work that you keep doing. Great to connect with you again.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it very much.
Always fun learning some interesting things about what have been primarily, I think, portrayed as vicious creatures. There's actually a lot more to them. I love what Nick said about feeling very lucky if you are able to encounter one of our, I think, most prized animal species or reptile species. Absolutely beautiful.